Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, October 30th, 2023. So this will have covered the week of October the 23rd through the 29th of 2023. This was a relatively productive week overall. I don't have any real complaints about it. But you did also probably see on the main menu out here that I have Power Wash Simulator re-downloaded. That is because it is almost November, and in November we will be getting new DLC for the game. I'm assuming it hasn't popped up on here yet. It has not, but it's going to be some kind of Back to the Future DLC, and yes, it is going to have trophies, that's already confirmed. So yeah, I just decided to go ahead and re-download it, play just a little bit for fun anyway. So during this past week, I obtained 2 platinum trophies and got started on a third one, and I also hit 27,000 total trophies, which is pretty exciting. So the main game I worked on this week was the PlayStation 5 version of SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake. So this is the PS5 version. It just came out a week ago, and I finished it in just a few days. It's a pretty quick and easy platinum trophy overall. It only took me about 10 hours to get the platinum trophy, so not too time consuming at all. Similar timing to Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which I really hope maybe someday gets a PS5 version. I would love to see that. So for the Platinum Trophy, your first few trophies, everything through this first Silver Trophy here are all unmissable story-related trophies. Every one of those will unlock simply by completing the story. The 7 worlds you have to explore, as well as Bikini Bottom, where you fight the final boss. And you will get all those trophies along the way. So now we get to a few miscellaneous combat trophies. So Baby Booms work like the Chucks from Battle for Bikini Bottom. They shoot like a ball of jelly at you. Well, I say shoot, but they like bounce it off of their lollipop thing that they're using as like a melee weapon. And they bounce it off of that and send it at you, and you just have to reflect it back at them. Do this to 10 different enemies to kill them. They take 2 hits to kill, and you will get this trophy. It's pretty easy. Most of the combat trophies in this game are quite easy. They're just a little bit grindy sometimes. Some of them may not come naturally just by beating the game. The Burrower is the big worm-looking guy that you don't encounter until about, I think, the medieval sulfur fields. No, wait, I think you first encounter him in prehistoric kelp forest, or whatever that location is. So the prehistoric level is, I believe, where you first encounter the Burrower. They're the giant worm-looking things. They pop up out of the ground, and when they pop up out of the ground, they can kill enemies that are around them. So use that attack to kill 10 enemies of friendly fire, pretty much, and you will get this trophy. If you need to farm it, you can easily do it in Bikini Bottom across from SpongeBob's Pineapple. The Big Jelly is the big muscular guy with the bathtub as his attack, which is strange, but okay. And you have to get 25 enemies killed with his bathtub attack, and this is one that might not come naturally, and it's not the easiest to grind out in Bikini Bottom because I think the only Big Jelly is over near Sandy's Tree Dome. Can't really kill any enemies there. So I would just say find a level where you can find a few of these, such as Goo Lagoon's a good place to do it, and just stand near them and guide them toward enemies and let them kill those enemies. Hopefully you can just work on it along the way. Then we have a bunch of level-specific, specifically boss fight trophies throughout the game, and these are where the most difficult parts of this Platinum Trophy are going to come into play. And this is one of the 3 most difficult trophies right here, catching Mr. Krabs in under 3 minutes in the first level of the game. This one is really annoying, and I think it might be bugged. I'm almost positive that I beat it in under 3 minutes in like 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and it just didn't unlock. And then the next time I did it in basically the exact same amount of time, and it did unlock. So I don't know if it's buggy or if there's something else going on with it that counts. I don't know. So this is definitely one of the most difficult trophies in the game. You really just have to sprint through everything, know exactly which enemies have to be killed versus which ones can be skipped, and exactly how to progress. The Sandy boss fight is also super annoying because she has a bunch of attacks that can hit you very, very quickly without much of a chance to dodge them. Like when she rolls her wheel over and it just spins across the ground like a UFO. That's a really annoying attack. And she spawns a whole bunch of ads that you have to kill along the way. Reclaiming the Dutchman's ship in 5 minutes is actually pretty easy. You shouldn't have too many issues with this one. It's a pretty generous time limit. The King Gary one, this was probably the most difficult trophy for me on the PS4 version of the game, but I didn't have too much of a problem with it on the PS5 version. I got it within maybe 2 tries. So it's just about being patient, knowing where Gary will look, and just not being caught in the light. If you're just patient about it, take your time with it, you shouldn't have too many problems with it. But like I said, on the PS4, this was probably the worst trophy for me. Then you have to evade all of Pom Pom's shockwaves. That's the 5th boss fight. This one's actually pretty easy. You shouldn't have too many problems with this. Just jump over the ones on the ground and roll left and right between the ones that come out of the center platform that are like sideways walls. This one was a little bit tricky just because I kept getting really bad, like, enemy RNG or something. I don't know if it was necessarily RNG or if it was just the way I was getting hit by the green goo balls, because you are allowed to get hit by the green goo balls that the witch shoots out. They don't actually do damage to you, but they will stun you in place for a couple seconds. And there are going to be some enemies that spawn pretty much every single time you deliver a cake. A couple of enemies will spawn, and if you get hit by any of them, you have to restart, and it's just a little bit finicky. Sometimes even the karate kicking move wouldn't work for some reason. So this one took quite a few tries on this version, more tries than it did on the PS4. Then Glubby Glub, this one's super easy. It's the next to last boss fight in the game. This one shouldn't give you any real problems. You can do this one very easily on your first attempt at it. And this is a final boss trophy, and it's probably the easiest out of all of the boss fight specific trophies because realistically, you're probably not going to get hit by the tentacles. You can get hit by the shockwaves and stuff, but the tentacles are the only thing you can't get hit by, and they don't really come down to attack you that much. The Jelly Makers are the big sort of purple glob-looking enemies, and for this trophy you have to defeat 5 enemies by knocking them into the Jelly Makers, which is a little bit annoying because the Jelly Makers take 3 hits to kill, and just knocking enemies specifically into them is a little bit finicky. So I recommend farming this one really, well, not necessarily farming it, but just going for this one as you go through the game. And if you're still a little bit short, you can easily farm it out in Bikini Bottom near the Krusty Krab. This one is pretty much unmissable. That's when the Jelly Maker does its roar whenever you get near it. That's a very easy trophy. This one you shouldn't have any problems with. This one is a little bit tricky to find a good place to do it, but a really good place to earn this trophy is near the end of the Medieval Sulfur Fields, when you get up on top of the castle walls, but before you actually go into the castle itself. So like after you do the sort of Simon Says minigame with Medieval Squidward, it's right after that. There's a great place to do it right there because there's a big jelly and a baby boom right there together. A few other enemies that you can just kill off quickly and then just do the friendly fire kill. I mean, there's several friendly fire-based trophies in this game, which is kind of funny. This one's very easy. Just get near a tartar jelly when it's starting to shoot at you. These work the same as the tartar bots from Battle for Bikini Bottom. And when they're attacking, just bubble them quick. It's very simple. Nothing else really to say about that one. The Ninjellies are the annoying ones that you have to kick once to knock them over and then hit them again. For this trophy, try to work on it throughout the game to cut down on the grind because it's probably not going to come naturally if you don't grind it a little bit. But a good place to farm some extra kills for this one is actually the Glubby Glub boss fight because he will spawn a bunch of them and they can get killed by his attacks. This one is pretty much unmissable. I don't think you can get through the game without getting this one unless you're just really, really bad at it. This one is most likely going to come naturally at some point, probably in downtown, maybe in Jellyfish Fields, but either way, it's still very easy. For this one, just don't spend any jellies until you get 10,000 of them at once, and then you'll unlock this trophy, then you can start spending them. Catching 50 jellyfish is a bit of a grind because you don't run into a whole lot of jellyfish throughout the game. They're not a super common enemy, but you can easily farm this one in Bikini Bottom by just running around, catching the jellyfish, going into a level, and then going back to Bikini Bottom. The 500 objects, this one's very easy, but it doesn't include tikis. There's a separate trophy for tikis, so just basically break everything you come across and you'll get this one done very quickly. Bubble 100 enemies, very simple, except that the bubbling isn't super helpful, so just remember to hit that R1 button to bubble some enemies every now and then, and you shouldn't have any problems. Karate kicking, this one is very, very easy because the karate kick move is so overpowered in this game. It's ridiculously overpowered. You should have this one done pretty early. Press 50 buttons. This one should come naturally while going for the 100%. It may not come while just beating the story, but it should come naturally just by 100%ing the game and getting all the other trophies. Destroy 1,000 tikis, pretty self-explanatory. Just hit any tikis that you come across. You should get this one naturally before you're done with the game. This one might require just a little bit of grinding because you don't get a whole lot of chances to use the reef blower because you don't even unlock it until very near the end of the game. So with this one, if you don't get it naturally by the time you get the other trophies, just go back to the Glubby Glub boss fight and farm whatever more kills you need there. The 1,000 meters gliding is pretty much unmissable. This will be one of the first trophies you get. This is a very, very easy trophy you can get in Bikini Bottom, like right at the beginning of the game. The secret spatula, there is one in each level, including Bikini Bottom, for a total of 8. They are usually a little bit more well hidden than some of the other collectibles. So if you just look at a collectible guide, such as the guide that we have on PSN Profiles that I was the main writer of, that's a great place to find all the locations. Hit 25 NPCs, that's pretty self-explanatory. Then spin 6 beach umbrellas and listen to a Slamville. Both of these trophies are done in Goo Lagoon. They're both done in a pretty similar area of Goo Lagoon. There's a couple of different places you can spin the umbrellas, and then the Slamville is in that section where you have to free the 12 anchovies. It's right in there. Then you have to unlock all of the costumes. You'll get some of them just by beating the story, and most of them you will have to purchase. Now, this trophy has actually changed a little bit compared to where it was when the game first released, because when the game first released, it only took 500 jellies per costume, which was very cheap and very easy to do, whereas nowadays they've upped the cost of most of the costumes, so it now takes about 28,000 jellies to unlock all the costumes. You might get enough jellies by the time you finish all the other trophies in the game, but if you don't, just go to the second checkpoint, I believe it is, in downtown, and just go find a dumpster that's already open and start punching it repeatedly to keep getting 2 jellies at a time, and you can easily farm however many jellies you need within just like 10 to 20 minutes. I will also say that the PS5 version added 2 new costumes, a Tier 8 costume, which is like a golden SpongeBob, or golden doubloon Bob, I think is what it's called, as well as the plush Gary costume. Those 2 actually do not count toward this trophy, despite being, specific to the PS5 version. They actually do not count toward the trophy, and you get them for the golden SpongeBob, for that one, you just have to collect all the coins in the game, and the plush Gary you get for getting the Platinum Trophy, actually, which is kind of cool, an extra reward for getting the Platinum. And this is a trophy, basically, for an in-game 100% completion. So yeah, it's an overall quick and easy Platinum Trophy. Took about 10 hours. It was a lot of fun going through again. Had a great time playing through this. It's a very, very fun game. I really hope that THQ Nordic gives us some more old Nickelodeon games and some new ones as well. Like, give us, another Cosmic Shake type game in the future. Would love to see that. And give us, remakes, remasters, ports, something of all those old Nickelodeon games that they are sitting on a giant pile of. You've got so many good ones. The Dak and the Power of Juju series, all of the Nicktoons Unite based games. So the games where you could control, 4 to 10 different characters from the Nickelodeon universe. And you could play those in co-op. Those were always a lot of fun. The frickin' Barnyard game, give us that one. That game is, for how bad that movie is, that game is so much fun and it deserves more credit than it gets. And, there's even a lot of other SpongeBob games. You've got Employee of the Month. The old point-and-click adventure game was an absolute classic. You've got the movie game, which would actually probably be a fairly challenging Platinum Trophy because the 100% in that game is not particularly easy. You've got Creature from the Krusty Krab and Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, the 2 just meme games from the SpongeBob universe. There's so many. Then I obtained the Platinum Trophy in Super Box Delivery Beyond the Horizon. This is the North American PS5 version of the game. This is not a hard Platinum Trophy, but it is a rather grindy RNG-based Platinum Trophy because of one specific trophy that's a part of it. Basically, it plays like an infinite runner type of game where you're just going to have, multiple lanes of roadway that you can jump between, and you just have to direct your car through the different roadways, collect packages, and then drop them off at designated drop points while avoiding hazards, including other cars that are coming the other way. I coined this as the South Carolina Driving Simulator, and that is actually not that inaccurate to real life. But every time you drop off packages, you'll get basically it's like XP that gets you going toward coins, and you get coins to purchase certain upgrades. It's an easy overall platinum, but like I said, there is one particular trophy that was quite annoying to get. So get your first coin. This is unmissable after a few runs of the game. Buy any one cosmetic item. This one's very easy. It's just buy any upgrade for one of your cars pretty much. No problems there. Then buy any upgrade. There are 4 different upgrades. I think one of them lets you take more hits from obstacles. One lets you take more hits from the cars that drive at you. One gives you the ability to slow down time, and one basically spawns super packages that give you more points when you pick them up. So just buy any one upgrade with either 1 or 2 coins, whatever it ends up costing, and you'll get this trophy. You have to max out any one upgrade. You'll probably end up maxing out at least 2 of them by the time you get your last trophy. Purchase any second car, which is just going to require you to spend 3 coins to purchase another car. This trophy right here is the one that took by far the longest. The special packages are a special, like, yellow glowing type of package, and they're completely random as to whether or not you'll get them, and they're quite rare. There's no consistency whatsoever to make them spawn. I tried different tactics to get them to spawn. Nothing consistently worked. It was just completely random. Sometimes I would go, like, 10 to 15 runs in a row without even seeing one, whereas at sometimes I got one in like 2 consecutive runs. It was just illogical. It made no sense. And it looks like that is the rarest trophy, 61%. Yeah, that is the rarest trophy, and I can see exactly why, because it's just so random. You never know when you're going to get one, and you still have to collect 10 of them. It takes a long time, and it's purely luck-based, so that was kind of annoying. If anyone knows a way to do it consistently, please feel free to put something in the comments here, but I didn't see a way to do it consistently. Then you have to get 10,000 points in a single run, and you have to deliver 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000 points worth of goods at one time. So all these trophies can sort of be combined together. Basically, the more items you pick up, the more points you're going to get, and you have to drop them all off to get slightly larger multipliers for more points. So getting the 5,000 points worth at once basically means you're just going to have to keep skipping the delivery points until you get to 5,000 and then drop all those at once at the next delivery point you come across. And then you just have to get 10,000 total points in a single run, so 2 big 5,000 point deliveries or a 5,000 point delivery and a few smaller deliveries. These trophies are not worth going for until you get some upgrades and can actually take a hit from cars and obstacles. But once you've purchased some upgrades, these really shouldn't give you too much trouble whatsoever. And then you also have to unlock every single item in the garage for a single car, which is going to require about 15-ish coins, I believe, to do for that one car. So just a little bit grindy there, but you'll probably get enough coins naturally even while buying some of the upgrades. And then finally, you just have to complete the tutorial, which is the first trophy you'll get right at the beginning of the game, which it teaches you how to play. This wasn't a bad game, but I was definitely annoyed at this whole 10 special package collection trophy because it's so random and so luck-based. And finally, I got started on the PS4 version of The Raven. This is basically a point-and-click adventure game with a lot of dialogue choices to make. It's a reasonably enjoyable game. I don't have any major complaints to it except for the fact that some of these trophies are extremely finicky and specific with what you have to do. With the exact set of moves you have to make to do certain things, it's a bit picky at times. So this is basically a story trophy, and I believe that this is also a story trophy. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not sure what trophies are specifically story-related because I've been following a trophy guide, and that's how you get all of them without having to really worry too much. There's a great guide on PlayStationTrophies.org. It apparently works for both the PS3 and PS4 versions of the game, but I will not be doing the PS3 version for something that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But the PS4 version isn't too problematic so far. I don't see any major issues with it. Hopefully I didn't just jinx myself, so I'm knocking on my wooden table here. So these are things that you're going to do on the train at the very beginning of the game, as is this. This one I'm pretty sure is not story related. I think this is just an optional thing you can do. This is an unmissable story trophy you're going to get like early on in Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is by far the longest of the 3 chapters in the game. The guide is 10 pages long on PlayStation Trophies, and Chapter 1 takes up 4 of them, so it's by far the longest. The torch, I feel like this is a requirement, but maybe it isn't. Maybe you don't actually need it, but I don't know how you could do it without this, because you have to go outside of the train and like fix a coupling or something. So I'm pretty sure that's story related. This one, you just have to do very specific moves while you're inside of the train when the power's out to make sure that you light enough matches. This is an unmissable story-related trophy. This is an unmissable story-related trophy. This is an unmissable story-related trophy, I think. I don't see how it couldn't be, given what happens at that time. So then this trophy is known for being extremely, extremely finicky, and it's apparently quite buggy, at least in the PS3 version of the game. There are a bunch of objects you have to interact with inside of a specific cabin, and if you don't interact with them in a very specific order, the trophy is known to not unlock. So definitely be following a guide for this particular trophy. Interact with the objects in the correct order. I can confirm the PlayStationTrophies.org guide does work for this. It got me the trophy on my first try. And then you have a trophy for finishing episode 1. Of course, that's unmissable story related. So then, with these trophies, you have to complete each episode of the game with an outstanding job. This means getting the maximum amount of, it's called like mind credit or something. Basically, if you ever use the square button, you will lose points and not be able to get this trophy. So just never touch the square button while you're playing through the game, and you should be able to get this trophy. You just have to make sure you do pretty much everything in the game. Don't use the square button, solve all the puzzles, interact with all the dialogue that you need to do. But I can confirm that trophy guide works great, at least for episode 1 or chapter 1, whatever you want to call it. I have not started chapter 2 yet, but at least 2 and 3 are both shorter, so that's good. We're making very good progress so far. Then you have a whole bunch of trophies for chapter 2 or episode 2, and then a bunch more for chapter episode 3, whatever you want to call it. And then you have a couple more trophies down here. You have an unmissable story-related trophy. So supposedly this completionist trophy is like really, really broken, especially on the PS3 version. And if you don't solve every single puzzle exactly correctly, then this trophy potentially may not unlock. But the real kicker is that at least for the PS3 version and possibly for the PS4 version, if you miss anything and the game chooses to bug out on you, you actually can't just delete your save and delete your game from your console. You have to go for this game again on a second console, apparently, is the rule, which is insane to me. I have never heard of that being a bug that goes like that in any other game. That's just so bizarre to me. Like, you make any mistake with this and you have to then go buy a whole nother console to be able to get this trophy. I swear, I hope that's only a PS3 thing. I know that it's a thing on PS3. I don't know if it's a thing on PS4, and there's no real way of knowing what progress you've made on it. I'm going to hope that I haven't made any mistakes. I've been following the guide pretty much perfectly, but, you know, with my luck, I will be one of the people that gets screwed over with this trophy. So it looks like it's a lot more common, though, than, like, Master Detective trophies. So hopefully it's not a broken mess on the PS4 version, but I'm definitely at least a little bit worried. So do not play the PS3 version. It's not worth the risk. PS4 version, I haven't had any major issues with. But it is, again, kind of a finicky trophy list. You have to do everything very specifically to make sure that all the trophies unlock. So, let's go ahead and sync everything up. So, level 846, 4%, 27,017 total trophies. Trophy 27,000, by the way, was in Super Box Delivery. It wasn't actually in the Raven. It was in Super Box Delivery, so it was covered on the live stream on Saturday night. But it will get its own separate, you know, very short, simple trophy video at some point. It might even be like a YouTube short or something. I need to maybe think about trying those out for some of these, like, really, really short platinums or something. It might be a better way to do them. So that was where I got trophy 27,000, 761 platinums, 4,995 golds. Wow, about to hit 5,000 golds. Awesome. 7,214 silvers, 14,047 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. Well, the biggest focus of all is going to be to go ahead and platinum the Raven. Like I said, the longest chapter of the 3 is out of the way, so we're about 40% of the way through the whole game. I should be able to knock this out within a few more days, hopefully, and just, be done with it. I have several old PS4 games that I need to try to go ahead and sell back to GameStop. They might only be worth like $2 or $3 a piece, but that's, $2 or $3 per game for 3 or 4 games is a decent investment toward Mario Wonder, or Super Mario Bros. Wonder, because I've heard nothing but positive about that game, and I definitely want to check it out over on the Switch. So yeah, of course, the Raven's going to be the main focus, at least for this week and the rest of October, because October is only like 2 more days, including today. So in November, the current plans are the PS4 and PS5 versions of Power Wash Simulator's DLC, whenever that releases. I believe it releases around, I want to say I saw November 16th as the release date. So whenever the DLC officially releases, that will be when I go back and do it. So that's the current major focus for November. The focus for December will be Fallout 76's new DLC, which is, well, I assume it's going to have trophies, but I've been wrong before, because Steel Dawn didn't have trophies, but Steel Rain had trophies. The Sheep Squatch and the Bar, or Booze, whatever you want to call it, updates didn't have trophies, but the Companions update did. Or no, it wasn't called Companions, it was the Wastelanders DLC, I think is what it was called. God, it's been like 4 years since that came out. I don't even remember anymore. And then the plans for 2024 are, of course, GTA 5 and Shadow of the Colossus and Outer Worlds, as well as other old games that I still need to do, like the PS4 version of Resident Evil 4 Remake, and possibly Resident Evil 6 on the PS4. I still think about doing that. And then just other games like that Air Conflict Specific Carriers that I have on here that I'm considering doing. I need to look a little bit more into it and see how worthwhile it's going to be to try and do. I know it's a fairly rare, well, maybe not fairly rare, but definitely rarer than some games out there. And then just a few other like old games that I still want to touch on at some point. But yeah, for now, just the focus for November is finish the Raven if I don't get it done in the next 2 days, and Power Wash Simulator, and those are the main focuses for a little while. Because Spider-Man 2 looks amazing, but it's not going to be something that I purchase anytime soon. I want to give it some time to work out the few bugs the game has, as well as learn about any DLCs that are going to come out, maybe get the game for a little bit cheaper. You know how I am, I don't usually buy games on release day anymore unless it's something like Fallout or Pikmin or something that I'm really, really interested in. So that's going to be about it for this update. So thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, go ahead and leave me a like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you've been working on this past week or so. And in terms of videos and schedule for the upcoming week, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming this coming week, because I think my parents are coming down this coming weekend, or it might be the weekend after. So it's either this coming weekend or the weekend after that they're going to be here, which will be a time period where I can't really stream. So one of the two will be non-stream focus, and it'll just be some videos and stuff. Of course, I just finished the Modern Warfare 2 video. It went up on Sunday. I'm very proud of that one. I think I did a pretty good job with that one. And the next video after that is going to be the Killzone Liberation Double Platinum. It's mostly going to be focused on the PS, whichever version I did first. I don't even remember if it was PS3 or... Okay, so it's mainly going to be focused, it looks like, on the PS4 version, because that's the one that I did first. The PS5 version is going to be a lot of repeating the same things, but that'll be a fun video to make, because, I mean, it's the last Killzone game that we might ever get, because I really don't see them making another Killzone game. I think they're just going to focus on things like Horizon or maybe other new properties. And then after that is the Destroy All Humans video, and then I have to decide what I want to do next. One idea I have is Bugsnax, because that game's a lot of fun. Another idea I have is at least the original Overcooked, though that would actually be a fairly short one, because that game is only about a 5-hour 100%, so we will have to see about all of that. We will see what I decide to do in the future. You guys can let me know in the comments what you would like to see. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and see y'all later this week for some more trophy content.